Friends, welcome to Iron Sharpens Iron today. We are happy to be back with you. I am wearing my Cy Falls swag today in honor of my oldest child, JD, senior at Cy Falls this year, and is just getting going on his first water polo tournament of the season. Day 2 of the water polo tournament. Props, JD, 2 goals in their first match yesterday. So way to kill it, buddy. Super proud of you.
Yes. Great job. I didn't know in water polo that you had to tread water. In my mind, it was like, what was it? The Meet the Fockers where they were playing like pool volleyball, you know, and you
Pool
jumped
volleyball,
up,
yeah.
spiked the ball and like hit the girl in the face, like blew her whole face out like before a wedding or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like that where you could like just kind of jump around, but you're treading water, dude? That's
Treading
great.
water. Yeah, the official pools, I think it's 7 or 8 feet deep. And for those of you who've never watched water polo, like go pull it up on YouTube or, you know, find Prior Olympics match or whatever.
I've never seen a water polo match.
It's so wild and wild in like all definitions of that word.
Yeah, like I'd be scared my son would be drowning out there, bro. You're treading water.
Yeah. So there's some guys that kind of go to the edge and get me out of here because they get really tired. But they train. So like JD trains at practice. Sometimes they're holding weights above their head. So they're only treading water with their legs, which has got to be incredibly grueling. That's not my talent.
Can they bring the ball underwater? Can I hit one of those?
So if you have it in possession and it goes underwater, it's a turnover and it goes to the other team.
What if it touches the water?
Well, yeah, I can touch the water. So they can have it on top. But then like stiff arms is a turnover. You can't like stiff arm people.
How do you get away from people?
You can push, but you can't have locked elbow.
Oh, I got you.
You can still push, but you can't fully lock out.
Can you push and lock out?
No, you lock out, it's turnover.
So like you just hitting like.
Yeah, still push. And they're like, you know, curling. I've seen them hook someone around the neck and like basically water polo. If you can get away with it, they're trying it. And, you know, as a swim official, I will tell everybody, it is really hard to see what happens under the water. And so
there's some shenanigans happening under there, huh?
Not okay stuff that goes on in water polo.
Don't tell me that, bro. Don't tell me that.
But it's, JD's come home pretty banged up a few times, bruised, scratched, but I love it because he fights so hard. Not the largest kid in the pool, but will take on anybody. He'll defend against anybody. So
it's awesome.
He's out there day 2. And that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about, not about grabbing and punching and stuff that goes on under the water, but I had the realization, and so you and I were talking about this earlier in the week. I had the realization, you know, and it's kind of been building. But my oldest child is graduating this school year.
That's crazy, bro.
It is unbelievable that time has gone. Like,
does it make you like want to cry sometimes?
Oh,
like,
all
looking
the time.
back on old like photos with like in the videos like when they're babies.
Yeah, I was talking to him in the car when I was taking him to the school to drop him off, and I was asking him how he felt about it and if it was kind of a strange feeling knowing that he's graduating. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I said, yeah, it's for me too. Because I can remember like clear as day when he's, 6 months, 9 months old, and it's just he and I kind of playing, and it's his toddler self, or when he just started walking. I remember very vividly, he used to sleep like curled up on my shoulder when he was a baby, and he'd be kind of like, what do they call it? Swaddled. So he'd be like swaddled, and as a baby, I remember first getting woken up, like 6 a.m. with a foot kicking me in the crotch.
He's going to be, and you just knew then he's going to be a great water polo player one day.
You just knew he was going to be a great water polo player. I thought it was going to be soccer at that point, but no, that was kind of when he went to the crib and started sleeping in the crib after that. But like, and all of that feels like yesterday. But he's graduating and he's going off into the world soon. He's, he wants to go be a missionary, which I'm so proud of him for.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he's planning on that immediately after graduation, but he's filling out college applications and all this stuff. And I realized there's so much advice and counsel I would give him now as a soon to be 44-year-old.
Old mother. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an appropriate expression. There's so much advice I would give him. And so I thought that would be like fun for the next few weeks. So, and I know you were in agreement with this. Like, what would we say? Like, if we were able to sit across the table from our high school senior selves, like, 17, 18 years old, soon to be going off into the world, what are the lessons we've learned since graduation that we would give to ourselves and that advice that would help avoid some of the pitfalls, or at least prepare, our younger selves for the challenges that we would face? And so, friends, I think we'll talk about, just a few of these each week. There's a lot. I've got a list here. So I know you can easily think of a lot too. But the first one that I wanted to say is you don't have to have it all figured out. At the age of
Yeah.
17, 18 years old, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to have it all figured out. And if you don't know what it is you want to do when you grow up,
Yeah. I still don't know what it is I want to do when I
okay,
grow up.
me too. And I think that's okay. Like my daughter, she wants to perform, and she kind of goes between Broadway or acting or voice and just being a vocal artist. And she'll probably end up doing all three because that's just her personality. So she kind of knows that. My youngest, he's wanted to, design robots that will take care of all of his chores and do all the things that he doesn't want to do so that he can go
That's
focus
sick.
time on things he wants to do. Yeah, like kind of the optimist thing.
Tell him to do that. We
Yeah.
need him to do that.
I want a robot.
Let me get a
that'll do all this stuff.
prototype.
Yeah. Put me on that list. Absolutely. But now he's thinking he wants to, now he's hardcore into gaming right now. So now that's kind of like the build his own business, I think, has changed a little bit because now he's focused on, he wants to build the Oasis from the movie Ready Player One.
That's awesome.
The whole virtual world. That's
Tell him to
kind of
do
what he's
that
into
too.
right now. Yeah. You can do that.
I'll play it. My son, it's interesting. He is always, from when he was little, and I don't know if this is like by proxy, because I've just been given him this, but he has always wanted to be an astronaut. He wants to be an astronaut. He wants to go to space. So hopefully he accomplishes that dream. My youngest son, he wants to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I'm not sure if that dream is going to come to fruition. But hey, I'm still encouraging him. You know what I mean? We're working on our roars and our scariness. Like, keep practicing, son. Maybe it's possible. You have all kinds of people identifying as all kinds of things, and you can be a T-Rex if you want to. We can make it happen.
Hey, Andy Serkis was King Kong. I mean, he was on the movie set, and he was, all going full gorilla, and then on the screen it was the gorilla. So
there you go. But to your point, I think that none of us never really know what it is that we're going to be, because none of us have this crystal ball to let us know what tomorrow is going to bring. Like, for example, even your son or my son who knew what they wanted to do. I want to build robots and automation. I want to be an astronaut. We don't know if they're going to wake up tomorrow and be exposed to, oncology because they have a friend that gets cancer and they see some kind of terrible situation that goes on with someone they love so much. And they just get this passion in their heart to go into like curing cancer. And then I didn't build robots. I stopped playing video games. Why? Because Maria. What? Maria was my best friend growing up. She got cancer and she unfortunately passed away. And I said, I'm never letting that happen again. So my passion has just been this. 40 years later, I cured breast cancer. You know what I mean? Like, we never really know. So I feel like those of us who have the pressure feeling like we should know, especially by the time when you're JD's age, like graduating high school, 17, 18, good luck with that. I'm 42 and I don't know what the hell I'm trying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My dad told me the other day, he's like, son, maybe you should go back to school. I'm like, yeah, okay, Dad. I'm like, yeah, you should go back to school. It's like, okay, I'm going to go back to school. But it's never too late to start over. And I don't think that it's ever too late to start school. But I think that you're not supposed to know what it is that you're supposed to do. And that's okay.
No, it is. And I remember, I wish someone had talked to me about just all the options when I was that age. And so, I talked about my youngest two and kind of things they feel they want to do. JD's still figuring it out. he doesn't really know. He knows he loves history, would love to be a teacher, also knows that it's kind of hard to support yourself on a teacher salary. So kudos to all these wonderful teachers who's make a financial sacrifice in earnings to go
I
and,
don't know how and why they do it. I don't know how they do it.
I mean,
It's just a
I,
passion in their heart, like your
it must be.
mother-in-law.
And, I'm extremely grateful to them because they impact so many lives in a positive way. And, so he's kind of wanted that. He's thought of the attorney thing because he loves to argue and debate and,
That's
loves
always a
to
good thing.
persuade people of his opinion. So, I've also said, well, politics may be a good thing, although careful of falling into that swamp. But
Don't go to any islands. Don't go to the island
yeah, don't
invitation.
go, stay away from islands. Yes, absolutely. Especially if they're
No
owned by a
island
very
parties.
rich individual. But, there's so much pressure. And this is the thing as he's gone through school, they started talking about college when in like 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. They're starting to prep them for college. And okay, education is really important. But it's also not for everybody.
Yeah.
College isn't for everybody. And so truly, it's okay. Me, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a professional athlete. Golf
Really?
was just the one I most wanted to do. I love basketball as well. Little vertically impaired for the modern NBA for that. And my
How tall
jeans,
are you?
I don't have springs in my feet either. So that makes it a little harder. But, I didn't put in the work truly for either. And things changed. And I have had to reinvent myself multiple times. I was in the security industry for years and years and years until, life prompted a change when, I was about 40 years old. And now I'm in insurance. And that's okay. But you don't have to know everything.
I also feel like the thought that you're supposed to know what it is that you're supposed to do, or like God's going to give you your purposeful occupation, I think it's like a honey trap. Like it doesn't really exist. Like I've never heard anybody say that, I was sitting there praying to the Lord, or I woke up from a prophetic dream and realized God opened the clouds and said, Jake, Home Depot. It's like, oh, I need to work at Home Depot. You know what I mean? Yeah, like,
I wish it's not easy.
insurance. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like God doesn't care what we do. It's less important about what we do and where we're doing it, our occupation. It's more important about who we're being in the midst of what we're doing. So even though you may not necessarily know what you want to do yet, by the time you're 18, you kind of understand who and what you want to be, the kind of person that you want to be. Do I want to be someone who's kind? Do I want to be someone who's hardworking? Do I want to be someone who helps people? Do I want to be someone who solves problems? Do I want to be somebody that makes things better for the next generation? That whatever it may be, that it makes your heart sing. You should just focus on being that you, regardless of circumstances. I think that this is interesting. Like we had this conversation about, a couple of days ago when we do our like prep meetings for what we're going to talk about. I had this whole long laundry list of like what I would tell myself at like 17, 18. And over the last couple of days, I've realized that if I could truly go back and tell myself some tips and tricks, mine's like the lottery numbers, you know what I mean?
Back to the future.
So Tesla, bro.
Yep. Tesla and Apple.
Apple. But you ask yourself, like, and I say that because you know what I'd tell myself? Like, honestly, after all the introspection I've done, thinking about this, like seriously thinking about it and really going through some hard stuff and just life in general this last week, I would tell myself nothing. And hear me out on that. So like you asked, I've done this thought exercise many times and it kind of came together for me this week thinking about this. If you had a choice, option A, I give you $1 million today and you go forward with it. Option B, you have all of the knowledge that you have now and could go back to 18 with that knowledge. Which option would you choose?
I'm going to choose the same one the first time you asked me this.
Well, for our
I'm
listeners,
going back.
you're going back because it's like, I know Apple, I know Tesla. I know I would tell myself all these things. I would tell them that you don't have to have it figured out and, be easy on yourself and give yourself grace and have patience with yourself. And it's a journey and it's all this other stuff. And all that stuff would be absolutely profitable or productive for your 17, 18-year-old self. But think about this. If you told your 18-year-old self that, if you told your 18-year-old self any of these things, JD wouldn't exist. He wouldn't be playing water polo this week. You would never have met your wife. You would never have done the things that you've done. You'd be sitting in some ivory tower somewhere with maybe another kid or maybe no kids. Maybe you walked across the street from your huge office building because you had Lugal. You went to the hot tub time machine and you knew everything, and you get hit by a truck and you're paraplegic and are looking like Christopher Reeves before he died. God rest his soul. Like, if you knew any of the things that you knew, if you made any of the left steps when you chose right or the good steps when you misstepped when you were younger, you wouldn't be where you are right now. So the blessing that is your life and that beautiful son that you have that you're wanting to give this advice to wouldn't exist.
I don't know.
So like, you don't think so? You'd have to catch.
It depends on what version of time travel you believe in. Which movie franchise version of
I
time
guess you're right.
stuff?
I'm thinking like Thanos, multiverse, you know what I mean? Like, who went back and messed up the timeline? We're talking Star Trek Kelvin timeline, okay? We could change stuff and it branches. Like, it's a branch. It's not like you can't change we're not talking like what was that horror movie that's on TV right now with our boy from The Matrix? It's good, or at least the first season was good. It's got kind of weird.
That's got
From. Have you seen From? From? Oh man, it's crazy. Watch From. First season of From is wild. But I say all that to say, the more I'm going through life, I've essentially reframed all of my problems, all of this challenge, all of this weight that I've been dealing with. And I've realized that my success or failure is really correlated to my own personal perspective on my internal self-worth and value. The more I value, the more I see myself as a champion or successful, the more I'm likely to act like a champion and move in a way that's successful. The more I act like a champion and I be my best and I move that way, the stronger that I become, the better father or husband or friend or family member or whatever that I become. And that makes life, the tomorrows, easier. Not because they get any, I would say, lighter, but only because I get heavier. So I have to reframe my pain. I've reframed my pain in something that I wish away to something that I'm actually grateful for because I know that pain is causing growth even though it hurts. I know when I'm deadlifting yesterday, for example, and I feel like my freaking arms are about to rip off and I'm like shaking like I'm, hanging out in the
having a seizure.
board. Yeah, right? I know that pain that I'm going through, that discomfort that I'm going through is giving me what I ultimately want, which is the physique and the strength and the body that I'm looking for. So I don't see it as a bad thing. It just is a necessary evil to get what I want. And in fact, I kind of look forward to it. I'm a little sore. Oh, it was good. Oh, I'm going to be under the bar. I'm about to pass out. That was a good set. That was great. But then when I go through work and I deal with people that I work with, no names, and I'm just like, oh my God, that pain, that weight is like, I wish I didn't have to deal with this. But I've realized that that's giving me the mental exercise that I need to be the best I can be.
Yep.
To grow into the strongest version of myself. So I think about going back to when I'm 18 and giving my 18-year-old self the lessons that I learned today, which would be intended to avoid the pain, to make better decisions. To avoid the stuff, that's what you want to do. You want to say, JD, don't do this because when I did it, it sucked. Don't just fall in love with any old girl. Make sure that she cares about you and that she has motherly instincts and that she can help you raise a family because this is so important. Don't spend all your money on a brand new fancy car. Save and do like this because you're looking for him to avoid pain because you love him. But if you're honest with yourself, if we're honest with ourselves, that pain has made us who we are. It's the reason why we're capable and able to do it. But I digress. I know that's not the point of this episode, but I do want to go back and say that I've realized that this pain that I'm trying to avoid is actually the point in building me to be the person that I believe in. And that person that I believe in, the more I believe in me, the more I act as if I am that person to be believed in. And the easier life gets because the stronger I become and I could lift the same weight of life easier. If that makes sense.
And so I'm going to disagree with your original premise because I think you just disagreed with your original premise.
All right, hit me.
It's not that we don't want to go back and give advice. It's the type of advice matters. We're not going to try and tell ourselves not to avoid challenge. Your advice to your younger self is kind of, I think, where you just wrapped up with, which is challenge is going to happen. Yeah. And the lessons you learn from it are going to shape who you become and how you rise to the challenge and how you react and how you treat the people around you that are going through it with you.
That's good.
That shapes who you become.
That's good, man.
That's a lesson that I think every young person needs to know. Life isn't supposed to be easy. Most successes, the people that, it's interesting. These young people are growing up with TikTok and Instagram and everything else. And I think this will be the second one I wanted to talk about because you and I didn't grow up with that. Like MySpace kind of was a thing for a while.
We had AIM.
Yeah. AIM. I don't know AIM. I knew MySpace.
You didn't do AIM like
America,
AOL Instant Messenger?
Instant Messenger, yeah.
Yeah.
Like AOL's Instant Messenger and then Hotmail's Instant Messenger. Yeah, we had that. That is true. But that was different because it's not everybody's fake life. It's just your
just pretty much text messages.
Instantaneous. Yeah, it was text message online. But all these young people today, they are growing up and it starts so early. Like I know your kids are still pretty young, Solo. And so you're going to have in the next few years the decision of when do I put technology in their hand and send them off to school with it? And
oh my God.
It's a debate. We chose middle school because at that point it became more necessary.
That's a long time though. You held out for a long time. That's good.
We held off all through elementary because I could not see any reason actually to give that to them.
Yeah.
But middle school, they start using apps and things in school. They'll do Kahoots and whatever in class. And so it's more of the argument they made was that they needed it for educational purposes. I don't know if that was actually fully true, but I am grateful for parental controls on phones. We told the kids that we get access to it whenever we want. Yeah. And I'm able to lock certain things out. Social media, we tried to prolong much further. That became more of a high school thing when my two high schoolers have access to social media. They didn't really ask permission. They just kind of did it. But growing up in the social media age, which is crazy because they see everybody's fake life and then start feeling bad about themselves if their real life looks different than somebody's fake life. Now, do they realize that the other person has a fake life? Deep down, probably they know it's fake, but they're seeing it every day. Like everybody's making all these posts and look, I just woke up. I haven't even had time to do my makeup and hair, but this is
look like a supermodel.
And they've been up for 3 hours,
Yeah, they've been up 3 hours. They actually had a professional makeup artist and a hair person there. They taken 497 pictures in the same pose and found the best one.
Exactly. And everybody else is like, sitting on the toilet with
and then they take their first one.
I don't look like that.
God. Why do I got this turkey thing around my neck? I'm ugly.
It's, but that's the advice that you're not going to avoid challenge. The challenges are just different. And so all this experience and the things they're going through and learning all this stuff, it's okay not to be perfect. Nobody is. It's okay to have challenge. Life is not perfect. Everybody's fake life on social media, they're not perfect.
Nope.
So stop comparing yourself to everybody's fake life and just realize it's okay. And going to what we talked about last week with gratitude, be grateful for what's in your life and you'll start to recognize the abundance that truly is in your life.
That's good, man. I feel like they say that comparison is a thief of joy. And it really is. When you start, to your point, comparing your regular, normal, messy life with somebody's photoshopped to perfection life that they put online, it's hard not to compare. Like, even like for me, like personally, I'm not a social media person. I don't do it for a couple of different reasons. I feel like social media is, we think that, like, so the Antichrist, for example, this person that's going to come and destroy the world is like a person. There's way too many similarities with social media to this person, right? Division, anger, fear, lust, sloth, all of it. I'm just sitting there slothing on the thing. There's division. I can't believe it. There's lust. Chick is hot. It's just all of like it's just too much. It's too much sin in one place for me personally. Vanity, all of it, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like even, with that, like, I'm a big YouTube person. I'll just watch videos. I like videos. That's what I like to do, right? Turn my brain off, put a headset in. If I'm clean, I'm watching a video. I'm very rarely sitting in silence, and I need to do more of that, to be perfectly honest. But I'm like watching workout videos and exercise videos and all this other stuff. And I'm like looking at these dudes on these videos like, dang, I need to pick my game up, dude. Like, I'm fat. I'm not, like, I'm asking ChatGPT, am I strong for my size? Solo. And it's like, petting my head and like, you can be okay, but I just don't feel strong, And it's just the only reason why I wouldn't feel strong or in shape or whatever is I see these freaking supermodel roided out dudes that are like just jacked and just like, jacked to the gills. You know what I mean? And they're probably roiding to the gills at the same time. You know what I mean? You can't have a V-taper like that and shoulder to waist ratio without taking a little testosterone. But in my mind, they just have better genetics, or they just work harder. I'm not working hard enough, and I just beat myself up and I get myself, into this tip. So comparison really is the thief of joy, man. It really is.
It really is. And that's where I think gratitude is so important. Dude, also, you mentioned YouTube. I like YouTube because I like to laugh, and so I'll just find Key and Peele and other videos. I saw this. This was one of my favorite uses of AI yesterday. Is someone made a video with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader on the Jerry Springer show. Remember Jerry Springer?
Oh man, that was my jam.
Jerry Springer was hilarious. And so they have Mark Hamill sitting in the chair talking about how everybody's lied to him about who his dad is his whole life. And then Jerry comes out, well, Luke, we've got Darth Vader on. Because he's like, well, then Obi-Wan, like, my mentor tells me that Darth Vader killed my dad. And this is right after he tells me my dad was a Jedi. And then Darth Vader kills him. We've got Darth Vader.
He comes out and he starts like,
he cuts off his hand and Luke falls in the chair like, oh, no.
Bro, so Jerry Springer was like the first, if you think about it, like all social media is just a big old Jerry Springer show for the whole world. You know what I mean? Like, where you see like crazy stuff. We got trolls in there and you got the audience. Hey, this is for the short midget dude at the end. Oh, what you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do? I just wanted to know, how do you wash your Matchbox car? And the audience goes crazy and wild. It's just, that's what you see on social media, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And everybody that's following the thread, is just on there. Jerry.
Jerry. Yeah, bro.
Just cheering on the two people that are just fighting on social media. I got into a social media battle once and never again. God, just sitting there at my keyboard, just self-righteously justified in all the things I was saying.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. It's Antichrist. I'm telling you, what do they say in the Bible? Like, first off is the person, will come on and have a global authority to all nations and all languages. Social media's global reach, right? Mass fascination. The world will marvel after the beast. Everyone's just involved in it, right? Worship and allegiance. People give the beast extraordinary loyalty. I think that it says that everyone is like, oh, I'm TikTok, I'm social media. That's how I make my money, all that kind of stuff. An image that speaks. The beast is described as an image is like that speaks. And it's like, that's, and maybe AI, maybe
I'm thinking AI.
It'll morph into like AI. Yeah, it might
Mhm.
morph into AI. Like we think of actual biological things, probably going to be one of these AIs, but it's crazy. Manufactured consensus, pressure to conform, economic exclusions. It's like truth versus desired reality. All that stuff is like all in Revelations, and it just lines up
Yep.
with just freaking social media. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. I personally think AI will be what it is just because like it talks about like doing miracles and stuff. And you hear about like what Elon says he want like the new Grok once it's released is going to do and solve problems. And well, yeah, you have something that comes out and like has some news, solves fusion energy. So you
Yeah, that'd
have
be cool.
free energy for everybody. Obviously it won't be free because someone's going to monetize it, but those type of miracles, yeah, people are going to bow down and start worshiping Grok. Like,
Yeah.
but the, the last one, the last piece of advice for today, and
Yeah. What would you
this
want
is
to
one I
tell?
truly wish I had understood when I was younger. Again, it's not going to like go back and change a lot of the decisions I made, but I think I would understand things better. Is it truly matters how you treat people?
Yeah.
So if you made, tying this back to the ones we already talked about, specifically, like you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't not necessarily have to know what you want to do when you grow up. You don't have to know where you want to go to college right away. You need to figure it out when you're starting to put in applications, obviously. You don't even have to know if you want to go to college because there's other things. There's flight school, there's tech school, there's trades, there's mentorships, there's apprenticeships, not mentorships, but apprenticeships. There's so many different options that are not the traditional university route. So understand, what really fills you up. Figure that out for your educational pathway. What's the best pathway for you? But no matter what you do as a career, where you're going on education, like all of those things, it matters how you treat the people around you.
Yeah. It
You are
does.
constantly building your brand. I had a leader tell me once that in every social interaction, he was interviewing the person.
Mm.
And he treated everything like an interview. And it wasn't like he would have normal conversation. So he's not like, what was a time when you ran
Tell me
into a
about a
challenge that
time
you
where
couldn't
you.
solve? Yeah.
It's like Gary's a real weirdo.
But he said it was always an interview. So, if he's interviewing his current staff or if he's having a conversation, I need to stop saying interview. If he's having a conversation with one of his current staff, he was in his mind, he's assessing, are they ready for the next level? Are they still
Mm.
a good fit for the team? If he's talking to somebody who, just at the grocery store, would I want this person on my team? Or
Mm.
for, connect them with people in my network. So he's constantly like doing this evaluation. Now we may not consciously think about it, but you and I have talked about this before. Like we do the same thing.
We do.
I've talked to waiters and waitresses who've provided excellent service and said, hey, I would love to hire you. Here's a website, check it
Me
out.
too.
But you'd be great. Here's my card, all these sort of things. You're constantly building your brand. And so the way you treat people, you never know who you're going to encounter. I had one of
It's
my,
like Zeus's law. Did you see the Odysseus? Did you see the Odyssey?
haven't seen the new one yet.
They have it's so good. Let me just throw a shout out to Nolan. It was so good. I'm going to see Spider-Man on Sunday,
That
which is
one's
going to be, it broke every
fantastic.
record. It's number one movie ever made, the highest grossing movie ever made. It's a Spider-Man. That's
Deserves
crazy.
it. It really
that good.
deserves it.
But in the Odyssey, they have this thing called Zeus's law, which is if a vagabond or any stranger really comes, you're required to, by this law, let them in your house, feed them, and take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because Zeus used to dress up or, disguise himself as a hobo or just a wanderer. And if you were mean to him, lightning bolt you, right? If you were good to him, he'd bless you or whatever. So it's one of those, it's the Zeus's law. You never know who that person is, what they are. And you don't do it because you want a blessing and you want to avoid a lightning bolt. You do it because you're just a good person. But I agree with you, man. It matters how you treat people because you never know when that thing is going to come back. You never know.
Yeah. Let me give an example. I had a person who worked for me, was a good friend of mine too. He was out on just a random service call. He's fixing this dude's alarm system, or putting, installing it for the first time. I think he was actually installing it for the first time. So he's out there and he's talking to this guy. Guy starts talking with him because my friend, David, is like super tech wizard genius, like just likes to tinker and invent things and all this. And so this guy's talking to him, ends up giving him, says, you know what? You would be perfect to come work for Bosch. And Bosch makes a lot of like great gadgets that are in everybody's home today, appliances, technology, security, all sorts of things. And offers him a job on the spot, paying way more than he was making for me. And great job that he absolutely deserved. And he's been with them for like over 10 years now and continued to climb the ladder over there and doing wonderful things. All because he treated the guy well, showed professionalism, and, he was ready. He had done his education. He had the skill set and everything for when the opportunity arose. And he absolutely took the job, and I was happy as could be for him. And that's just one example. There's countless examples of how this works, both on the good side and on the bad, depending on how you treat the people around you.
Yeah, I agree, bro. That's good advice. That's really good advice. I would definitely give my younger self that as well, because I was so selfish when I was younger. Like, I just saw myself as in this own little bubble, and I didn't understand the interconnectedness of everything in life, of people, of circumstances. Even in my, I would say, career, not even younger career, but even, mid, and even now, a lot of the times, I still forget the interconnectedness of just got to be good to people, because it'll always come back around, and that goodness will always show dividends. If I could go back, I got 3 things to tell myself. I would say environment, grace, and space. The first is environment. I didn't know how beneficial or deleterious my environment was when I was younger. I hung out with some not so great characters.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Spock, I'm a Trekkie, I'm a nerd. I feel like Spock said it the best. He said, constant exposure will always result in some form of contamination. You've heard you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut, right?
Yep.
And I feel that that's absolutely true. Constant exposure will always result in some form of contamination. The people that you're around, the environments that you're in, will get inside of you eventually if you let it. I mean, will get inside of you eventually, regardless of if you intend to or not. So you have to surround yourself with people that are doing things, involved in things, and are about things that you want to be exposed and, contaminated by, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be around people that are positive. You got to be around people that are wanting to be their best. You got to be around people that love the Lord. You got to be around people that are honest, that are trustworthy. You got to be around people that are living like a sober, upright, righteous life. You got to be around those folks, because if you're around the others, which is easy to do, because, I would say the bad vibe folks will just say that people don't drink and do drugs and party because they suck. Okay. People drink and do drugs and party because it's freaking awesome in the moment. But the moment leads to the future being terrible. And in the moment, sacrifice to being the people that want to be their best and to be disciplined. And like JD, who wants to be at a water polo camp and doing things like this as opposed to going to a party. Those are the folks that are eventually going to be their best, because you can sacrifice where you are right now to get what you want in the future. But the only way to do that is in, I would say, community. Because you can't, the lone wolf thing doesn't exist. You need people. And the people you surround yourself with are either going to pull you up, push you forward, or pull you back and drag you down. So I would say environment is the first one. The second one I would say is grace. And first I would say give yourself grace. I've always believed in God, and I've always believed God could do all the things that God can do, right? I don't think that somehow, even now, when I get anxious, or back in the day when I got scared, I didn't think that somehow the devil won, or God got dethroned. It's you know what? I quit. I'm not the Lord anymore. I'm done with this. I never doubted God, and I don't doubt God now. It's me who I doubt. It's that God has the blessing for me. It's that my stupid mistakes, or my poor decisions, or my inability to act, or too much of this or too little of that I'm
not worthy of his blessing and love.
I'm not worthy of it, right? And I feel like before God can give you grace, you have to give yourself grace. You have to be worthy of grace. I realize that if I truly believe in God, I don't need to believe in me because I believe in the spirit that God put in me. And that spirit in me is bigger than any of the fleshly things that I could do to disrupt it. And God is going to do in that spirit something through me because that spirit is in me. And that's what I got to believe in. But to do that, you have to give yourself grace. And you have to realize that the closer you get to God, the closer you get to this better self, the higher you get, the more contrast you're going to see by looking down at some of your inadequacies. You know, I'm too much of this. I'm too little of that. I'm so separate from this wonderful, perfect God. And that's going to hurt. You're going to feel that contrast. You're going to feel that gap. And if you're not careful, that gap will hurt your faith. And to your point, believe that you're not worthy of the grace that God gives you freely. So I would say you got to give yourself grace. Yeah, you're a piece of crap. So is everyone else. Yeah, you're not as, jacked as this person's photoshopped, image of perfection, to your point, but that's okay. Like, you're you, and God put a spirit in you that is going to do big things. There's nothing that you can do that's going to disrupt what he's going to do through you, through that spirit, if you believe and you give yourself grace. And then the last thing is space. I think that is even the advice I'd give my 42-year-old self is I need to take more space, more introspection. I feel like a lot of the times in life, we become emotionally compromised. In executing, I've always been the type of person that does things fast. I just want to do it. But because of that, I've made a lot of mistakes and missteps. And I wish that I was the kind of person that could take space. Brian Miller, he's somebody that used to report to me. He said something that I thought was really wise. I was asking him about something. It was like a big something. I was like, well, let me get your opinion on that. What do you want to do? And he's like, you know what? You've given me a lot to think about. If it's okay, I'd like to take a little space to really understand what it is that we're looking to accomplish, and then really circle up with you when I've had a little bit more time to think about it, digest it, and some space to really understand what it all means. And it's like, wow, that's really good. And I think that all too often we don't take the space. We're in this microwave, quick, you need to get things done. Let's go, 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 like world. And it's okay. And even it's better if you just take some space. Like, you know what? I'm emotionally compromised right now. I'm not going to reply to this email. Hey, you know what? I'm like really excited right now. So, and before I say yes, I'm going to calm down a little bit. I'm going to take a little space to understand how that's going to fit in my schedule in the future, and everything in between. Like, just take the space. What did that mean? Why am I reacting like this? What could be the worst case scenario? What could be the opposite? What do I want from this? What would happen if I did this? What would happen if I did that? Taking the time to really think through things as opposed to just autopilot getting things done, I would say space. So environment, grace, and space would be the three practices I would have my younger self really focus on. And maybe at 42, I wouldn't be, in such emotional shambles sometimes because I don't even listen to the advice that I give myself right now.
And lastly, Apple and Tesla, Amazon. It's also
Amazon,
Netflix. Spanx is a great one. That just blew up.
Yeah,
If you can go back 20 years, those are also some really good decisions.
You know what I would really do? Like, if I could go back with all my knowledge, I would definitely Lugal it. You know how they went time, like Hot Tub Time Machine, and I would be the guy that was making the songs though. You know what I mean? Like, the song just seems so personal. They said the guy, because he went back and made her song, before she made it. That would be so cool, but it would be such a rip. You know what I mean? That'd be crazy. Just remember some songs, Yeah. But this is a good episode, bro. Thanks for, this is a good one.
This is a good one. We'll probably continue this one. We do have a guest we're trying to get on that just need to work out the scheduling. And so we're going to get our former boss on here.
Good man, that guy.
He just asked. He asked for a couple weeks. So, but friends, we love you. We'll see you next time.